Hi everyone, Comic Reviewer here, this time reviewing on the Rugrats movie. Now, as you know, the Rugrats movie is a 1998 animated comedy film that was directed by Eagle Kongolfgif, as well as the screenplay written by David Neffing West and J. David Stim. Now, the premise of the film is meant to be about the Rugrats gang who after basically doing an Indiana Jones like fantasy, and after seeing Tommy's new brother Dill at the hospital, quickly leaves the Rugrats gang annoyed, fed up, and if not, annoyed with Dill's presence. Now, Dill is basically the fifth member to the group, and I think the point of the film was meant to have Tommy being put in a new direction, like him sort of having the title of being the older sibling. And I think for someone who has been the older sibling, I can kind of relate to this. It's like being put in a new position where not only are you no longer the only child, but you're left in a position about being a sibling. And with the film itself puts Tommy to the test, and I think what makes it work is that when Stu kind of gives Tommy the watch, it's kind of like a symbol that he's kind of passing the responsibility of older sibling to him. And you can kind of tell that Stu does kind of want to reconnect with his older brother Drew, which does kind of work. And after getting lost in the woods, we kind of see how the gang are quickly against each other's throats, how they're quickly annoyed with each other. And throughout it, we do see how Chucky is kind of annoyed about Tommy being there for Dill, and you kind of tell that Phil and Lil do get annoyed with Dill. And I think the point of Dill was meant to have him realize that Tommy is his older brother, as well as learning no longer to be a spoiled brat like Angelica. So I would say the film really does work, because when you kind of got the opening, when it's got the TV screen with the older opening, it's like that notification that this is no longer going to be like on TV. This is going to be on the big screen. And when you kind of got the Indiana Jones fantasy, it really works. And I feel like there were moments where some things were unnecessary, or just feel like they were enforced, like having the monkeys be the villains, kind of. Also, like when you've got the wolf kind of going after the kids, I get it, it was meant to kind of be a more dangerous threat, but it kind of comes across like Spike's managed to handle the problem single-handedly, which I can kind of understand. And the film really does seem like it wants to kind of end itself there and there. And I do agree with South Park Motion 123. It seems like, from his opinion, and I can see what he's meant, that this felt like the ending of Rugrats, which it did, because it kind of showed that Stu and Drew finally got on in the end, and it kind of seemed like Charlotte would stop working and pay more attention to Angelica. But no, everything just goes back to the status quo. And I would say that when you look at the Rugrats movie, it really does hit close to home, because when you're kind of the older sibling, you kind of feel less attention when a new sibling comes along. When you kind of feel like, yeah, when you go in the hospital and see your new brother and sister, it hits close to home. As well is that when you kind of given the responsibility, it's like a new game changer. And I would say what makes the film work is that it was a lot of promotional material, like there were watches for it, games, cereals in America, as well as film posters everywhere. And what's interesting is the Rugrats episode Family Tree was meant to be a prequel to Rugrats the movie, and there would have been another episode that would have been a prequel to Rugrats in Paris. And I think them having In the Woods really is a game changer, because we've always seen the Rugrats be more in the playground. We saw them basically in other places, but them by themselves is like the big game changer. And this did kind of remind me of Digimon Season 1, where we see the characters at each other's throats. We see Ty with a new responsibility about being an older brother in the digital world, as well as still being the leader. That hits similarly to Rugrats the movie, and we do see the reptile wagon that becomes the Rugrats' main transportation throughout the end of the series. And I think at the end of it, the film really does hit close to home, and we would get two other sequels in 2000 and 2003. So I think this movie deserves a thumbs up. Still good and still alright. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.